Welcome to Shared Passing Thoughts. Okay, today we are going to be using an updated version of an Amethyst Sapphire deck I've been playing with, so here we go. Okay, the main focus we want to do in mulligans is always try to get a 1 cost, a 2 cost, and a 3 ink cost card. So I'm just going to go through here and get rid of everything that is not a 1, a 2, or a 3 cost, and get rid of any extras. So we're going to keep Grandma Tala, which is really good for ramping, and then we're also going to keep Crab, which is good for dealing with any kind of challenging we need to do. And I would have rather have had a Flounder or an Archimedes for a 1 cost, but this is still good. Okay, we're going to ink Let It Go. It's a 5 cost card, and we don't really need it right now. And we're going to do Develop Your Brain because it's all we've got for right now as a 1. And this will just help us to filter out what we don't want on top of our deck, and we want to draw into better stuff. So getting a Maleficent is really good because Maleficent will allow us to draw a card and is going to help us dig for what we need off the top of our deck. And we were able to go ahead and put the Develop the Brain onto the bottom of our deck, so we don't have to worry about drawing that. That would be better to get, Develop Your Brain would be better to get in the late part of the game. Okay, they are running an Amethyst Amber deck, and it looks like they're going to try to lure really quickly. So we'll go ahead and play Grandma Tala so that way we can go ahead and try to ink faster. Now they might end up playing a Bodyguard deck here in order to protect their lower cost lure cards, so we'll see. Now the main thing we want to do is to try to ramp if we can, so if we can get Mickey out and if we can have Grandma Tala end up getting banished, that will give us a really good ramp. They're inking a Maleficent Sorceress, which is interesting because that's a very good card. Questing for 2 lore. Okay, so they're going to have a self-bounce deck here with Madame Mim. So they're protecting Lilo by being able to play it again on future turns. It's a slower strategy bouncing it like that, but it does protect Lilo, so it is somewhat effective. However, with them going with a slower strategy of bouncing their Lilo, we're going to be running a strategy that's really speeding up here with our ramp. Okay, they're inking another really good card, which is Friends on the Other Side. So I guess they're really not seeing a need to draw right now. Okay, they play Lantern. That's not really a big threat for us. It is a ramp, but it's a very specific kind of ramp, which is characters only. And it seems like part of the strategy that they're going to be trying to do here is bounce and play quickly. So they'll play a character, they can bounce it, and then they can just try to play it again. Let's just go ahead and do the Merlin Crab so that way we can buff up our Grandma. Grandma can take out Madame Mim, and then by taking out Madame Mim with Grandma, Grandma will end up becoming inked, so it'll give us more ink. And now we can Friends on the Other Side. That's going to let us draw 2. And now we'll ink Develop Your Brain. Now we have another Grandma Tala out. So again, trying to get as much ink as we can as fast as possible. They're sitting at 3, we're at 6. And what this is going to do later in the game is we have a lot of cards that let us draw. So if we can get the engine going here on a lot of ramp, when we're able to draw a lot, we're then going to be able to turn around and play all those cards we're drawing with. And then that's just going to overwhelm our opponent. Okay, so they're still looking like they're going to be doing the bounce strategy. We're just going to go ahead and quest, go ahead and get some lore onto the board there. We'll play Maleficent so that way we can draw a card, check out our options. We'll just go ahead and quest him. Sorry, go ahead and ink Archimedes. And now we can play Sisu. So we have a really good board presence right now. It does look like they're going to be able to do some shenanigans with the bouncing, and they're going to be able to get a pretty good amount of lore. But we're going to be able to maintain a board presence where they're going to be able to do a really good push probably this turn, but in their following turns, they're going to have to try to play catch up. Okay, so they're questing for 2. And there you go, questing with Arthur. So Arthur allows them to bounce Lilo, protecting Lilo, but at the same time gaining lore for bouncing Lilo. So again, it's a very good strategy to gain a lot of lore really quickly. The only problem is it's a little slow. Okay, so Stitch Rockstar. Drawing 2, and with their bounce strategy, Stitch Rockstar is really good because they'll be able to play those lower cost cards again over and over and drawing cards with it. So again, it's a really good strategy. A little bit slower pace though, because you're having to return your cards, play them again, your characters again. And then they got to ink dry. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and challenge their Stitch. Okay, so with our Crab getting banished, we can buff Grandma Tala. Then with Grandma Tala, we can swing in at Arthur. This will banish Arthur, but also banish Tala, giving us more ink. Then we can go ahead with Maleficent Sorceress and finish off Stitch Rockstar. This is going to banish our Maleficent also. But then we can swing in with Mickey Mouse Detective and banish their Lilo. So we can go ahead and get rid of all 3 of their characters. We end up losing 2 characters in the trade, and Mickey will take some damage. Now we can quest with Sisu, and that's going to give us 2 lore, but then also triggering her ability. So we can look at the top 2 of our deck, put the card we don't want on the bottom so we don't have to worry about drawing something we really don't want, and then the card that we really want we'll put into our hand, which is Popsicle, because that will allow us to draw a card. And again, just digging through our deck, getting what we really want. We do run 4 copies of Hades and 4 copies of Let It Go in this deck, and that is to have removal options just in case there's any threats that hit the board that we're not able to deal with through challenging. So here, playing Maleficent Sorceress, draw a card, and then Goat to go ahead and get a lore. Now we have a really good board presence, and they have pretty much nothing except their Lantern to provide more character ramp. So at this point, we are at a really good position to potentially clutch a GG. Okay, Friends on the other side. Again, really good card. Rough situation for them here is that they're having to pay most of their ink in order to do this because they don't have a 3 or more cost character to help them with it. They have 2 ink as of right now that they can play, if you count the Lantern. Plus they can still ink for the turn. Okay, inking Rapunzel. Rapunzel's one of those cards that can be really good, drawing you 3 cards, but it can also just be a dud. And a lot of the times it ends up being a dud. Simba's a really good card for Bodyguard, but in this situation, he's kind of behind the 8-ball here. Okay, so we're going to play Popsicle, draw a card. And we're going to play another Popsicle to draw another card. And again, this is just digging, and where we have all this ink to do this now, we can just dig for good stuff. Mickey, ink, getting us more ink so we can continue to dig on future turns. And then with Sisu, we're continuing to draw and dig through our deck. So we've already quested up to 12 lore now. We're getting another Sisu, which is awesome. It's going to continue to provide pressure through lore and through just getting better stuff. Go ahead and ink Flounder, and then we can go ahead and do 4 ink to go ahead and play another Sisu. And at this point, since they're not running Ruby or really have a lot of ink at this point, it's probably GG. Now the Popsicles are mainly to draw cards. That's why we run it, is to just cycle through our deck. If we need to ink with it, we can ink with it. But they're also really good conditionally in that they can heal our damage to characters. And Popsicle is one of those cards too that's good for drawing. Develop Your Brain is better because Develop Your Brain can look at the top 2 cards. Okay, so they're probably going to attack our Maleficent. Yep. So Maleficent is gone. Okay, they're bringing out another Madam Mim. That's going to return their Simba, so that a way it's almost like healing it. Again, just makes it to where he has to ink dry again. Okay, smart, stopping our Sisu from getting us more lore and from letting us be able to choose from cards as the top 2 cards of our deck. Okay, so we could remove with Let It Go, but we really don't need to remove with Let It Go. We have such a good board presence, we can deal with it, even if he does end up removing a few of our cards. So we'll go ahead and quest getting 5 lore. We'll trigger Sisu's ability. And see, we can go ahead and put this Flounder on the bottom. We don't really need Flounder, but we can keep the Popsicle to go ahead and continue ramp. And the system here kind of just messed up and didn't let me put it on the bottom of my deck while I was looking at it, so I had to show it to him in order to put it on the bottom. We'll play another Popsicle to go ahead and draw another card. Then we can go ahead and trigger Nothing to Hide to draw another card. And we get to see what's in their hand. So Rapunzel, not a big deal. Simba, not a big deal. So there's really no threats at this point with 17 lore. Again, not playing against a Ruby deck. That's going to be GG. And we're just going to go ahead and keep drawing a bunch of cards here. to go ahead and make sure, just in case something really weird was to happen, we'll still be in an amazing situation. We also have Merlin Goat, so even if he gets removed, we're still getting a lore off of him. If Rabbit gets removed, we're getting to draw a card off of it. We still have 2 Let It Goes to remove anything, and we have a Develop Your Brain to go ahead and try to get better cards. So our situation is amazing, and we still have all those Popsicles that we could remove damage from if we had to. But at this point, this has to be GG. There's no way around it since he doesn't have anything like a Be Prepared. And even if we did get hit by Be Prepared, we're still drawing a card and we're still gaining a lore. Okay, playing a Rapunzel. He's only going to have 3 ink left though after that. At this point, I think he's just playing out what he has, seeing what he could do at most. Yep, and there's his hand, so that is going to be GG. Good game.